Hello students, myself Bhupinder Kaur, lecturer biology from Government Model School 3B1 Mohali. Dear students, we are doing our fourth chapter, that is Animal Kingdom, and today we will continue the same topic, that is the basis of classification. In my previous video, I discussed about various bases like level of organization, body plan, symmetry, body cavity, digestive system and circulatory system. And today I will be discussing my next points, that is segmentation, civilization, respiratory system, excretory system, fertilization, development and body temperature, so that we get a broad idea of the various phylums which we will be studying in our next videos. So students, let's continue with the same topic, that is the basis of classification.
So students, let us study some more characteristics of kingdom Animalia because this will help in understanding the various characters of phylums which we are going to study in our next videos. Now students, depending upon the presence of notochord, the kingdom Animalia is divided into two broad groups. As we all know, non-chordates and chordates. Now what is this notochord? This notochord, it is a rod-like structure which is present on the dorsal side of the body between the nerve cord and the alimentary canal. So this is the notochord, a rod-like structure which is present on the dorsal side of the body. Now what is the dorsal side and ventral side? The ventral side is that which is facing the substratum, whereas the dorsal side is opposite to the ventral one. And this is the anterior end. The anterior side कौन सी होती है students? बॉडी की anterior end वो होता है which moves forward during locomotion, और इसका जो opposite end है that is the posterior end. So anterior end which is kept forward during locomotion और posterior end है opposite to the anterior end. Dorsal side और dorsal side वो है जो face नहीं कर रही to the substratum, and whereas the ventral side is that which is facing the substratum. And lateral sides जो left और right side है body की, that is known as the lateral side. So students, depending upon the presence of this notochord, which is a rod-like structure, the kingdom Animalia, that is divided into two broad groups, chordates and non-chordates. So in chordates the notochord is present, whereas in non-chordates the notochord it is absent. And the phylum Porifera to Echinoderms, these are all non-chordates because in them the notochord is absent, whereas from fishes to mammalia, all of these groups they belong to chordates. They are chordates because in them the notochord that is present. Now students, this chordate that is also known by the name vertebrates, because this notochord that is replaced by vertebral column in some higher chordates. So इसीलिए हम chordates को vertebrates भी कहते हैं because in them the vertebral column, जिसको हम रीढ़ की हड्डी कहते हैं, vertebral column is present. Whereas non-chordates में जो vertebral column है that is absent. So chordates they are also known by the name vertebrates, and non-chordates they are known by the name invertebrates. So depending upon the presence of this notochord, the kingdom Animalia that is divided into two groups, chordates and non-chordates. Now next character है student segmentation. Segmentation means repetition of parts in an animal body. और segmentation बहुत ज़्यादा prominent देखी गई है in Annelida, Arthropoda, in Annelida, Arthropoda and in Chordata. In all these three groups, segmentation that is seen, and segmentation is the repetition of parts in an animal body. For example, तुमने अर्थवर्म की बॉडी देखी होगी. अर्थवर्म की बॉडी जो है that is segmented externally as well as internally. So अर्थवर्म के केस में external segmentation as well as internal segmentation that is seen. इसी तरीके से आर्थ्रोपॉड्स में स्टूडेंट्स इंसेक्ट्स आते हैं. सो इंसेक्ट्स की बॉडी जो है that is also segmented because they have a small head, thorax and abdomen. And in case of chordates also, this segmentation that is seen in the form of vertebrates, ribs, nerves and blood vessels. So segmentation, that is very important characteristics of phylum Annelida, Arthropoda and Chordata. तो जब हम Annelida, Arthropoda या Chordata के कैरेक्टर्स करेंगे तो उस टाइम हम सेगमेंटेशन के बारे में भी स्टडी करेंगे. नेक्स्ट है स्टूडेंट सिफिलाइजेशन. सिफिलाइजेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? फॉर्मेशन ऑफ हेड एट द एंटीरियर एंड ऑफ द बॉडी. नो एंटीरियर एंड, मैंने तुम्हें बताया है, एंटीरियर एंड इज दैट पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी विच इज केप्ट फॉरवर्ड एट द टाइम ऑफ लोकोमोशन. तो एंटीरियर एंड पे हेड की फॉर्मेशन, दिस इज नोन एज सिफिलाइजेशन. और हम देखते हैं कि हमारे हेड रीजन पे ही सारे सेंस ऑर्गन्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं, बिकॉज द एंटीरियर एंड ऑफ द बॉडी दैट इज गोइंग टू फेस द एनवायरमेंट फर्स्ट. तो ये जो सिफिलाइजेशन है, फॉर्मेशन ऑफ हेड है स्टूडेंट्स, ये स्टार्ट हुआ था फ्रॉम प्लेटीहेल्मिन्थीज ऑनवर्ड्स. सो प्लेटीहेल्मिन्थीज ऑनवर्ड्स जितनी भी फाइलम है, दे हैव द प्रेजेंस ऑफ हेड, एंड ऑन दिस हेड the sense organs they are present, because these sense organs, they are going to sense the environment during various activities. So civilization, that is a very important characteristics from platyhelminthes onwards. Next is student sexuality, whether the individual is unisexual or it is bisexual. Now student, unisexual, that is also known by the name dioecious, Dioecious, dioecious. And bisexual, that is known by the name monoecious. Now what are unisexual individuals? Unisexual individuals are those in which the sexes are separate. Sexes, they are separate means the individual is either a male or a female. When these sex organs, they are present in two different individuals, then that individuals, they are known as unisexual, or they are known as dioecious individuals. But when both the male and female sex organs, they are present on the same individual, then that individual is known as bisexual, or it is known as monoecious. And one important name is given, hermaphrodite. So what are hermaphrodite? Sometimes this question is asked. Now, what are hermaphrodites? Hermaphrodites are those in which both the male and female sex organs, they are present. So earthworm जो है student, earthworm एक hermaphrodite है. earthworm bisexual individual है, bisexual species है, because in it both the male and female sex organs, they are present. अब स्टूडेंट, जिनमें बाइसेक्सुअल कंडीशन होती है तो नेचुरली उनमें क्या होगी? सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन होगी, सेल्फ फर्टिलाइजेशन होगी, बिकॉज हमने एनिमल्स के केस में टर्म यूज़ करना है फर्टिलाइजेशन. सो उनमें क्या होगी? सेल्फ फर्टिलाइजेशन होगी. बट कई बारी देखा जाता है कि बेशक इंडिविजुअल जो है दैट इज़ बाइसेक्सुअल, बट उसमें क्रॉस फर्टिलाइजेशन हो रही है. सो उनमें कई अलग रीजंस हो जाते हैं कि अगर इंडिविजुअल बाइसेक्सुअल है, उसमें मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन क्या है? टेस्टिस. फीमेल सेक्स ऑर्गन क्या है? ओवरी. तो अगर मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन पहले मैच्योर कर जाता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्रोटेंडरी कंडीशन है, तो उस केस में क्या होगा? अभी मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन इज रेडी फॉर फर्टिलाइजेशन, for reproduction, but the female sex organ is not ready. So this individual that will go for cross fertilization. तो individual जो है bisexual है, but still it is going for cross fertilization, either under two conditions: protandry, when the male sex organs mature earlier, or protogyny. Protogyny means when the female sex organ mature earlier. सो स्टूडेंट, ये भी टर्म्स क्लियर हो गए हैं. प्रोटेंडरी कंडीशन क्या होता है? जब मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन्स पहले मैच्योर कर जाते हैं देन दी फीमेल सेक्स ऑर्गन्स. और प्रोटोगाइनी कंडीशन है व्हेन फीमेल सेक्स ऑर्गन्स दे मैच्योर अर्लियर देन दी मेल सेक्स ऑर्गन्स. सो द इंडिविजुअल दैट इज आइदर यूनिसेक्सुअल और इट इज बाइसेक्सुअल. एंड बाइसेक्सुअल is also known by the name मोनोशियस एंड हर्माफ्रोडाइट। तो कई बारी हर्माफ्रोडाइट एनिमल्स के अगर तुमसे एग्जाम्पल पूछ लें तो तुमने बोलना है अर्थवर्म, लीच हो गया, टेपवर्म हो गया। दीज आर द एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ हर्माफ्रोडाइट एनिमल्स। नेक्स्ट है स्टूडेंट्स डिपेंड रेस्पिरेशन और रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम। नाउ डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द organ, respiratory organ, the respiration that is of different types. First is cutaneous respiration. Now what is cutaneous respiration? If the respiratory organ is skin, the skin, when the skin is acting as a respiratory organ, in that cases students, the skin is very moist, it is very soft, because through the surface of the skin the gases they are going to exchange. So cutaneous respiration is that respiration in which the respiratory organ is skin. When the respiratory organs they are gills, it is known as branchial respiration. For example, branchial respiration is present in fishes. When the respiratory organ that is trachea, then that type of respiration is known as tracheal respiration. और tracheal respiration students insects में देखा गया है. एंड लास्ट पल्मनरी रेस्पिरेशन. पल्मनरी रेस्पिरेशन होता है कि व्हेन द रेस्पिरेटरी ऑर्गन इज लंग्स. जितने भी टेरेस्ट्रियल फॉर्म्स हैं, लैंड फॉर्म्स हैं एनिमल्स के, उन सभी में रेस्पिरेशन किसके थ्रू हो रहा है स्टूडेंट्स? लंग्स के थ्रू हो रहा है. सो उन केसेस में जो रेस्पिरेटरी ऑर्गन है दैट इज लंग्स, एंड दैट टाइप ऑफ रेस्पिरेशन इज नोन एज पल्मनरी respiration. So students, depending upon the type of respiratory organ, the respiratory respiration that is of different types: cutaneous, branchial, tracheal and pulmonary respiration. So जब हम fishes के characters करेंगे, Pisces के characters करेंगे, then we will do that. The fishes they have branchial respiration. So we must know at that time what is meant by the term branchial respiration. जब हम arthropoda के characters पढ़ेंगे, then we will come to have that they have trachea, they have tracheal respiration. So we must know at that time that what is meant by tracheal respirations. Tracheal respiration means when the respiration that is taking place through trachea, जो कि एक extensive system है intercommunicating tubes का. Next है student excretory organs. Now excretory organs they vary from phylum to phylum. In the lower groups, like in protozoans, the excretion that is taking place through plasma lemma, through plasma membrane. In case of porifera and coelentrates, the excretion that is taking place through their general body surface. In case of platyhelminthes, flatworms, flame cells they act as respiratory or they act as excretory organ. In case of earthworm, nephridia, they are the excretory organ. Malpighian tubules, they are the excretory organ of arthropods. Coxal glands, they are excretory organ of spiders. Kidneys, they are the excretory organ in all the vertebrates. तो जब हम सभी vertebrates के characters पढ़ेंगे, then सभी vertebrates में एक common character होगा that their excretory organ that is kidneys. Whereas antenna and green glands they are present in case of crustaceans like prawns. Next student, depending upon the type of the excretory matter, the matter which is excreted out, उसका chemical nature क्या है? The animals they are of different types. Ammonotelic. Ammonotelic means when the excretory matter that is ammonia. नाउ स्टूडेंट, जितने भी एक्वाटिक एनिमल्स होते हैं उनका एक्सक्रीटरी मैटर एमोनिया है, बिकॉज ये एमोनिया बहुत टॉक्सिक होता है, ये ज़्यादा देर तक बॉडी में नहीं रिटेन होना चाहिए. जैसे ये बना तुरंत इसकी रिमूवल जो है बॉडी से बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होती है. एंड for the removal of this ammonia from the body a lot of water is needed. So जितने भी aquatic forms हैं उनका excretory matter क्या है? ammonia. So they are known as ammonotelic individuals. जिनका excretory matter urea है they are known as ureotelic animals. और जिनका excretory matter uric acid है they are known as uricotelic animals. So most aquatic animals like bony fishes, they are ammonotelic. Mammals, we are ureotelic because our excretory matter is urea. Amphibians, sharks, and some of the bony fishes, they have urea as the excretory matter. Whereas birds, many reptiles, insects, and snails, in them the excretory matter, that is uric acid. So they all belong to uricotelic animals. So depending upon the type of excretory matter, the animals, they are of different types: ammonotelic, ureotelic, and uricotelic. Next are students types of fertilization. Internal fertilization and external fertilization. Now if the fertilization that is taking place within the genital tract of the female, अगर फीमेल बॉडी के अंदर फर्टिलाइजेशन हो रही है, देन इट इज नोन एज इंटरनल फर्टिलाइजेशन. अगर फर्टिलाइजेशन एक्सटर्नल एनवायरमेंट में हो रही है, देन इट इज नोन एज एक्सटर्नल फर्टिलाइजेशन. सो एक्सटर्नल फर्टिलाइजेशन में मेल और फीमेल जो है, दोनों ही अपने गैमीट्स जो हैं वो ले डाउन कर देते हैं इन द आउटर एनवायरमेंट, एंड इन द एनवायरमेंट द फर्टिलाइजेशन दैट विल टेक प्लेस. Whereas in internal fertilization, जो males हैं, they shed their gametes, male gametes, into the genital tract of the females, and in the female body the fertilization that will take place. So in internal fertilization, the fertilization that is taking place within the female body, whereas in the external fertilization, the fertilization that is taking place in the environment. सो दिस इज़ द पिक्चर. मोस्टली जितने भी एक्वाटिक जो एनिमल्स हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल इन केस ऑफ फिशेस, the fertilization that is external fertilization in the outer environment, we can see in the outer environment the male and female gamete, they will fuse with one another to form the zygote. Whereas in case of internal fertilization, the males, they shed their gametes into the genital tract of the female, and within this genital tract of the female, the fertilization that will take place. So this is internal fertilization and this is external fertilization. तो mammals जो हैं, they have what? They have internal fertilization. Next है student development. Development जो है individual की, it can be direct or it can be indirect. Now what is meant by direct development? It is a type of development in which an embryo develops into a mature individual without involving a larval stage. जब eggs जो हैं, they directly forms the adult, then it is known as direct development. When this egg forms larva and this larva changes into adult, then it is known as indirect development. सो डायरेक्ट डेवलपमेंट में जब एग्स हैच हुए तो उसमें से जो यंग वंस निकल रहे हैं, दे रिजेंबल द एडल्ट्स. जबकि इनडायरेक्ट डेवलपमेंट में व्हेन द एग्स दे आर हैचिंग, उनमें से जो यंग वंस निकल रहे हैं, दे आर एंटायरली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द एडल्ट. नाउ दिस लार्वा, it will undergo some changes, उसमें कुछ changes आएंगे and then it will change itself into the adult. तो उसमें जो changes आ रहे हैं students, this is known as metamorphosis. This is known as metamorphosis. So in case of direct development, the embryo develops into a mature individual without involving a larval stage, whereas in case of indirect development, a sexually immature larval stage occurs having different food requirements than adults. In case of direct, metamorphosis is absent, whereas in case of indirect development, metamorphosis is seen. And direct development, it takes place in fishes, in reptiles, in birds and in mammals, whereas indirect development, it takes place in most of the invertebrates and in amphibians. मोस्टली हम इंसेक्ट्स में देखते हैं कि इंसेक्ट्स में से जब यंग वंस निकलते हैं दे आर टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द एडल्ट्स, तो हम उनको क्या कहते हैं, लार्वा कहते हैं। फिर उस लार्वा में कई चेंजेस आएंगे और फिर वो लार्वा कन्वर्ट होगा इनटू द एडल्ट। तो वो जो चेंजेस आ रहे हैं इनटू द लार्वा, दैट इज नोन एज व्हाट, मेटामॉर्फोसिस। सो वी कैन सी इन दिस पिक्चर ऑल्सो दैट एम्फीबियंस के केसेस में जो एग्स जो हैं उनमें से क्या निकले हैं स्टूडेंट, लार्वा निकले हैं। और हम एम्फीबियंस के या फ्रॉग के लार्वा को क्या कहते हैं, टेडपोल लार्वा। तो ये जो टेडपोल लार्वा होता है स्टूडेंट, इसकी जो स्ट्रक्चर है, इसकी जो रिजेम्बलेंस है वो टोटली डिफरेंट है फ्रॉम इट्स एडल्ट। कैसे कि जो लार्वा है उसमें गिल्स हैं एज रेस्पिरेटरी ऑर्गन, यहाँ पे इसके रेस्पिरेटरी ऑर्गन्स जो हैं वो लंग्स हैं। इनमें टेल प्रेजेंट है, इनमें टेल जो है वो एब्सेंट है। ये एक्वाटिक हैं, ये टेरेस्ट्रल हैं। सो जो लार्वा है निकला है दैट इज टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द एडल्ट। तो ये जो लार्वा है इसमें कई चेंजेस आए हैं और फिर वो कन्वर्ट हो रहा है इनटू द एडल्ट। सो दिस डेवलपमेंट which involves a larval stage that is known as indirect development। और लार्वा में जो चेंजेस आ रहे हैं so that it can transform itself into an adult, these changes they are known as what, metamorphosis। So we can see in this picture also that these are the tadpole larva, and this tadpole larva that is totally different from the adult form. It will undergo some changes, it will undergo metamorphosis, and then it will change itself into the adult form. So in case of frog we can say indirect development occurs. Now student, the animals they are again of two types, oviparous. Egg laying animals they are known as oviparous, young one laying they are known as what, viviparous। जो egg lay करते हैं उनको हम oviparous कहते हैं और जो young ones lay करते हैं they are known as viviparous। So we all are what, viviparous individuals। So when we will do the characteristics of various phylums, then we will come to have these terms। हम इन terms के बारे में पढ़ेंगे that these animals they are oviparous, these animals they are viviparous। So we must know what is the meaning of oviparous and viviparous। Next है student poikilothermals and homeothermals। poikilothermals means relatively variable body temperature होता है। इनका बॉडी टेम्परेचर जो है वो वेरी करता है विद द एनवायरनमेंट। अगर एनवायरनमेंट में टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज हो रहा है देयर बॉडी टेम्परेचर विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज। अगर एनवायरनमेंट का टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज करता है तो देयर बॉडी टेम्परेचर दैट विल ऑल्सो डिक्रीज, एंड दे गेट हीट फ्रॉम द एनवायरनमेंट, hence they are called ectothermal animals। they are getting heat from the environment, they are not getting heat from their body itself। उनको बॉडी से हीट नहीं मिल रही है, एनवायरनमेंट से मिल रही है, इसलिए हम उनको एक्टोथर्मल भी कहते हैं। या वो अपनी हीट को रिटेन नहीं करके रखते, वो हीट को लॉस कर रहे हैं टू द एनवायरनमेंट। सो मोस्टली जितने भी फिशेज हैं, एम्फीबियंस हैं, दे आर पोइकिलोथर्मल्स। बहुत प्रॉब्लम आती है उनको सर्दियों में उनका जो ब्लड है इट स्टार्ट फ्रीजिंग, गर्मियों में उनका जो बॉडी टेम्परेचर है वो राइज करना शुरू हो जाता है। इसीलिए इन विंटर्स वी डोंट सी दीज एम्फीबियंस एंड रेप्टाइल्स। वाई? बिकॉज दे गो फॉर अ लॉन्ग विंटर स्लीप दैट इज नोन एज hibernation। So why they go for hibernation? Because their body temperature that is changing with the environment। And next, we human beings, mammals and birds, we are homeotherms। Homeo means same, therm means temperature। Our body temperature remains constant, it doesn't changes with the environment। We can regulate our own body temperature। Our body temperature, like we human beings, हमारा body temperature it always remains 37 डिग्री सेल्सियस। चाहे environment में temperature 50 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक हो रहा है और winters में temperature माइनस जो है तक चला गया है, but our body temperature it remains 37 डिग्री सेल्सियस। Why? Because we are homeotherms, we can regulate our body temperature। And we are endotherms, we are getting heat from our body itself। Clear? So जितनी भी birds और mammals हैं these are all homeothermals or they are known as endothermals। And amphibians and reptiles and fishes. They are poikilothermals and they are also known as ectothermals. So I think students, we have done the various characteristics of kingdom Animalia in detail, and when we will do the characters of various phylums, it will be much and much easier for us. यहाँ तक स्टूडेंट सारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो गई है, हमने हर एक चीज़ को बहुत क्लियरली जो है वो अंडरस्टैंड किया है. आगे जब हम फाइलम्स के कैरेक्टर्स करेंगे तो उस टाइम थोड़ी सी क्रैमिंग होगी, इसीलिए मैंने पहले ही तुम्हें सारी चीज़ें समझा दी हैं ताकि आगे हमें कोई भी प्रॉब्लम जो है वो ना आए. सो स्टूडेंट्स, इन अवर नेक्स्ट वीडियोज़ वी विल स्टार्ट अबाउट the study of various phylums. So till then students, thank you.